We'll talk about that.
It's quite poor. Hello and welcome. This channel is all about music and art, and last weekend, 16th of September 2023, the MIDI Innovation Awards were held. Now, this was predominantly an online event which lasted for just under 2 hours, and I have to say it was a bit shambolic at times. There was a few technical issues, and it was a bit of how do you feel and how did you decide on the winner, that type of thing. But what I thought I'd do is I will link to the live stream down below, so you can see the whole event if you wanted to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the 5 winning awards. Now, there was a judging panel, and I'll put their names on screen now. And there are 5 categories. We've got commercial hardware products, commercial software products, prototype and non-commercial hardware products, prototypes and non-commercial software products, and artistic visual project or installation. So we're going to show the submission video for each of the 5 winners. There was a short list of 3 per category, and the judging panel chose them. And I'll link to all the descriptions of the winners down before, so there's more information. So let's get started. So we'll start with the artistic visual and installation category.
What are ways that we can put musicking in people's hands? Through sound sculpture, you can walk inside the experience of composing music. When the cubes change color, they're indicating a change in sound to reveal time flowing across the space. It really opens doors to creativity and sound composition through spatial play by bringing melody, rhythm, and harmony into 3 dimensions. To approach this as an instrument, we look at the cubes in space as possibilities of frequencies in rhythmical time. We can see the y-axis as pitch and the x-axis as rhythm or time. Changes in the placement of the cubes result in both changes in pitch and rhythm. If the cubes are neighboring and ascending and/or descending, a musical scale is formed. Grouping cubes and leaving space produces rhythmical variations. Aligning the cubes vertically on the y-axis creates coincidentally triggered notes at different pitch levels. In other words, harmonies or chords. Six anchors surround the active area where the cubes may be placed. Each cube has within it a battery-powered transponder tag, which broadcasts its unique ID. Each anchor receives this signal at slightly different times, which allows a server to calculate the coordinates of each cube. In Touch Designer, the incoming data is mapped to musically relevant values, including on-off triggers. When these triggers arrive in Ableton, they are directed at a sound instrument with considerations for harmony and rhythmical quantization. Lighting events are similarly controlled and driven by this incoming data stream. The lighting conditions of the artwork are controlled via custom plugins. The state or resting condition of the cube's light, as well as its ping 2 settings, are controllable with RGB values, as well as an attack, sustain, and release curve. Sound sculpture is a dynamic, spatial sound and light instrument. It is a playable, collaborative public artwork that facilitates alternate approaches to composition. The piece distributes the creative responsibilities of sound composition to a group, while instigating play with surprising results.
So if you're wondering why you're seeing the valve in black and white right now, it's because we're seeing them through the mixed reality device I'm wearing right now. I'm working with the Meta Quest 2, and you can see the video stream from that device. And on top of that, the mixed reality musical instrument. This instrument is called Nets, and I've been making it over the past few months in collaboration with a pianist and music producer, with the goal of addressing some of the limitations that a traditional piano or a keyboard instrument might have. We took inspiration from Leonhard Euler's tone nets, a musicological tool devised for the analysis of harmony in music. And we turned this idea on its head to use it to actually make music. So each of these hexagons that we can see here is connected to a note, which we can also visualize. And if we press into them with our fingers, we can hear the corresponding note. Now, we wanted to extend this idea a little bit and allow for seamless pitch bending between all of these notes. So if I press in here, slide my finger along, I will slide from one note to the next. And lastly, we have designed this interface to be played on a table or any other flat surface. So what you can see here is a table overlaid with a black curtain. And now we can position this instrument slightly above the table and then use the tactile feedback from the table to play. So far we've only played single notes, but what if we want to play chords? So one problem that we have found while developing this instrument is that because we are using mixed reality technology and don't have any actual physical surface, if I want to press like a couple of them together, I will inadvertently start triggering other notes or interface elements that I don't want triggered. And to circumvent this, we devised a way to play chords using hand pulleys. So if I use this hand pose and touch inside the triangle, I will play the three enclosing notes, so in this case the D major chord. I can combine these to create more complex chords and start building harmonies. We've also incorporated expression controls for individual notes and chords, so if I hold down a note and move my hand to the left and right, I will modulate its pitch slightly or with a chord. And furthermore, if I move my hand down while holding down a chord, I can adjust a cutoff filter for a low pass. I can adjust the cutoff frequency of a low pass filter of each of the voices that make up the chord. Allowing us to create all sorts of textures and interesting combinations. There's a lot more to cover, but I will do that in the project description, and now show you a song composed for the Nets instrument.
Hi all, I'm here to present you some uses of the Hitar as a precise, expressive and fun MIDI percussion controller. The Hitar is our augmented acoustic guitar prototype built by myself, Andrew McPherson and Mathieu Barthet at Queen Mary University of London. Why is it special? Well, hit it and you will see. The idea behind the Hitar is to interpret the expressive potential of percussive fingerstyle. This movement of musicians treats the guitar like a full band, and we wanted to design a digital system to let them do just that. The instrument looks and feels like any regular old guitar, but inside it has 5 piezo sensors that send signals down to an artificial intelligence engine tracking which part of the hand hits the body. In this way, we can assign different sounds to different parts of the hand. Our technology, however, describes each hit uniquely depending on the expressive technique of the musician. Have a listen to this pandeiro sample, morphing from a resonant center hit to a muted side hit. The heel of the hand controls one sample, whereas the rest of the hand controls another. And now, excuse my very inauthentic interpretation of a samba. This multidimensional description also outputs a control change parameter that we can assign, for example, to the position of a stick on a snare drum, so that our snare sound has an expression that goes above and beyond artificial humanizers. You've heard examples of how the Hitar changes percussive guitar playing in a way that makes it closer to its calling as a one-man band. Now, thanks to the assistance of Spitfire Audio's percussion library, I want to show you how the Hitar can become a tool to create beautiful soundscapes for cinematic composition. For example, by controlling timpani. Thank you for watching this video. You can find more information about the Hitar on our YouTube channel. I will leave you with this piece of music written around the sound of Spitfire Percussion's gong drum, tuned to a low D.
Hey everyone, Eyal here, and I wanted to go over the editing features of BeatScholar when you want to make your own beats. So the first thing I'm going to do is click the preset name and hit Init Preset. That will open a blank canvas that I can just draw my ideas into. And the first thing you can do is pick one of the drums, for example, the kick drum, and click to fill a drum. You can also click to turn off the drum. And you can also drag by, clicking and dragging and filling the entire row, or making an entire row go away. So this is just the basics, clicking, dragging, and so I can just put the drum here, this here, and then pick the snare, have the snare here and here, right? And that's your basic, step sequencer flow. You see we have 3 lanes. Each lane is divided to 4 circles or pizzas. And let's start by doing more interesting things. So I can split or slice each pizza into multiple slices. So for example, let's take the hi-hat here. And I can place the hi-hat, it will fill the circle, but I can also hold the 2 button, and that will pick the slicer. You can see that it picks a slicer brush. And then I can fill the slice with 2 notes that I can fill separately. If I hold the 3 key, right, that will give me a triplet. And you can be quite creative with this. So for example, I can hold, one of the keys, like 4, right, 16th notes, and then I can just drag up and down to get any number of slices that I want, and then just fill them with a drag motion. Cool. You can also manually click the slicer brush. So if you want to do some manual controls, this is useful, and then go back to the drum brush. You can also right click to see all the different options and just do manual slices, like slice this to 12 pieces and then fill them or something. If you want to completely fill or clear a circle, you can shift and then click and then go back. Let's say you liked one of the circles, so maybe, right? Let's say I love this. So I can just copy and paste this everywhere. So I can just say, okay, let's take this and right click, copy. Then I can go anywhere and click, right click, paste to get the same thing. There's also a shortcut for this. If I hold C and click, I will copy the entire circle. And then I can just, hit V, and you see I got a preview of what this would look like. And then I can just drag and fill the rest of the row. Maybe this is not so musical. Let's try something else. Let's have something like this. Maybe a 5. Maybe that's more musical. Let's copy and paste this. We can also deal with velocity by clicking Alt or Option and then dragging up and down, right? And this will make the note softer or louder. And let's copy this here as well. If I'm not so happy with what I've done, I can always undo that, right? So this undo of the paste, this will undo the velocity shift, and this will redo them back. Great. Now I've done this, we can do even more stuff. First of all, notice that we don't have to write a single drum per lane. We can actually have multiple drums per lane. So for example, let's say I want to get something like the tom here once in a while. I don't need a track for the tom. I can just place the tom right here or here. Right, so that allows me to write freely. I can hit plus here and open a new lane just for this thing, but it's sometimes more convenient to just stay in the flow of the musical part and just say, okay, for example, here's an open hi-hat. Let's turn off one shot and place it right here and place it right here. Right, so just a way to mix the open and closed hi-hats in the same sequence. So far we've just worked with one bar, but you can also add bars. So let's remove this one lane and let's add another bar of 4/4, right? This would just insert another bar here at the end. You can remove a bar by hitting X, and then you can also duplicate, right, and create duplication so that you can do, different variations of your pattern very quickly. So that's a simple way to do this. You can also copy and paste bars. So for example, let's say I have the bar 4 bars. I can right click and copy, and then right click and paste to have the contents of the bar be transferred from here to here. The same works with the shortcut. So C and click, and then V and click here would paste this over here. Notice that at some zoom levels, some of the buttons near the bar numbers would go away. In that case, you can just use the scroller here to zoom either horizontally or vertically, depends on what you want to do. So we can, for example, zoom here until more buttons show up, and then just drag across to see everything in a higher resolution. Additionally, if you hit the bars button on the side, you can see an overview of the different bars, which is useful if you have longer songs. And then you can also do things like, remove, duplicate, etc., and just have the same operations from here. And other things you can do is you can change the time signatures. So let's go back here. Let's zoom out. Let's say that we want to have this bar be, instead of 4/4, make it 5/4. So you can just go to the numerator here and drag it up. It will be 5/4. Drag it up, 6/4, 7/4, etc. So this will be a 6/4, and I'm just going to copy this, paste this, have the snare here. You have a very loose feeling in this way, where you can just mix and match different time signatures. You can also change the denominator of the time signature, which will also change the length of the notes. So for example, I can change this, or this bar, from 4/4 to 4/8 by dragging the denominator here or here. It became a double time. So for example, if I'll do something more, I guess normal, like this, right? And if I go to 16th notes, that would be quadruple time. And I can also go to half notes for half notes. So once you've done that, there's also a few little other things you can do. First of all, as we said, you can hit one of the numbers to split, but that also allows you to split a full lane. So you see it opens a little arrow here when I hold the 3 button, and then I click it and everything becomes a triplet, right? Then I can just very easily add, a triplet here. Nice. So if I go back to the patterns view, you can see that everything has different patterns. So I can always just hit plus and add another pattern, right? So each pattern is its own complete different sequence. Each sequence can have a different number of lanes, different drums, anything, and you can just click one of the other to play with it. You can also copy paste information between patterns. So I can just copy this bar here, go to this other pattern and paste it. It will try to fit it in within the number of channels. You can also right click and duplicate that pattern. So it's the same pattern all over again. You can rename it. Some great pattern. And then you can shift drag it, which will get MIDI out if you're working with MIDI. So these are essentially the basics of editing. You can always undo, redo your actions. And when you like them, you can always hit here and then save the preset under a new name. Hope you've enjoyed this and hope you make some cool beats with BeatScholar.
This is X-Key, a new expressive and intuitive way to produce and perform music. Just pick a sound and record your best loops. Choose a scale and follow the colors to stay in tune. X-Key is a keyboard and an app you can play where you want, when you want, and how you want. Get easy access to harmony thanks to our award-winning note layout, putting notes that sound good together next to one another. The X-Key keyboard and app work with any software, any MIDI controller, and even with MIDI and modular synths. Direct your songs live or program them in advance. Record audio and import your own sounds and plugins. Play live, covers or original compositions in your own style, and put real life into your improvisations. And to learn how to play, let the lights guide you.
X-Key is a keyboard and an app, not only mobile, plug and play and intuitive, but also expressive to bring warmth of traditional instruments, compatible to fit anyone's creative environment, and customizable to match every player's needs and personality.
Hi, I'm Angelo Chiacchio and I'm an associate designer at No Design. In designing this new musical object, the Intuitive Instruments team really wanted to take into account today's economical and environmental context. So together, we imagined an eco-responsible object with no planned obsolescence that you will be able to assemble, hack, augment, and customize yourself with low-impact materials.
Beginner, amateur, and experienced musicians, artists, music teachers, join us to build the future of music. And let's make it exquisite.
So thanks very much. I hope you found that useful, and I'll see you next time. Cheers now. Bye bye.